All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is totally random with Katie. This is officially episode number one with Katie Hamilton. How are you doing today?
Good. It's Saturday.
Yes, nice weekend weather here. We had talked about how last week I think I said the summer seems to be lagging on here, but with the past couple of days, we finally got temperatures that are below the point where I don't need the air conditioning all the time. So, in fact,
Yeah.
past 2 or 3 days, it's been like I've actually had the air conditioning off for like several hours at a time, which is kind of nice, I guess.
So what is the temperature there? Is it in the 60s
Uh,
or is it 70s?
today I looked at it just before we went live. It's 75 degrees where I'm at right now.
Okay.
So, and the I do have the air conditioning on right now, but for the morning hours, normally it's been so hot I've had to keep the air conditioning on, even in the early morning hours when it's the coolest. It's just this morning. Nope, I woke up and I had no air conditioning. It felt great, but then as the day wore on, it's like, oh goodness, it's getting a little bit too hot in here. Even though it's only 75, my house just seems to have this tendency to overheat for some reason. I'm not sure
We
why.
have a lot of windows too. I've noticed like when the sun's beating in, I'm like, why is it so hot in here? It's so like not even that hot outside, but like, yeah, sometimes you're like your place can be way hotter than it is outside. It's like the sun is just like beating in.
Hmm. The my the I have a I don't have a ceiling fan, or I should say a roof fan on my house. My attic. I think what happens is in my house anyway is that the attic acts like a little buffer and it retains the heat. I think that's what's going on there. So you have this big area up there, and so with the heat doesn't have anywhere to go and just kind of stays inside the house. Because yeah, exactly what you're saying. I walked outside last night, or I should say in the early evening, just as the sun was setting. And it was like I walked out, my air conditioning, both of the units were on. It was nice and cold inside. And I walked outside and it was like it was even cooler outside. I'm like, wait a minute. It's cooler outside now than it is. And I have both my air conditioner units running. And if I turn them off, it was going to get too hot again. So it was like, I can't win. So
Nope. Not with this fall weather. It's back and forth.
yeah. So talking about fall, we had our question from last week. And we had a nice, decent response of people give me 1,700 votes on that so far. Do you have a favorite fall flavor? And with overwhelmingly 70% with pumpkin spice. Next one down, 13% we had apple cider, and 8% was salted caramel. Actually, they're right in a row. It looks like they just look like they picked.
Yeah.
This goes right down the line there. Salted caramel with 8%, maple with 6%, and ginger pear at 3%. So let's see. I'll go look at our responses here. I'll put them in order here. Pumpkin spice is terrible. Uh-oh. And needs to be removed permanently from anything.
There's some of those people. I feel like you either love it or you hate it. I feel like there's no really like, well, I feel like I could be in between, but I don't know. I feel like it's you either love it or you hate it.
Next one down. I don't know sure what the next one says. Looks like it says Zach. I'll just go, does it say
Dog.
hot dogs? Sandeep Mohan R, regular contributor. I don't like any of these because I'm Indian and I'll stick with vanilla butterscotch and piss. What's that say?
So
I'm
is
not
it
sure.
pasta or
Yeah,
pista? Maybe it meant to say pasta. I don't know what that is.
yeah.
Pista.
He's always adding some sort of humor there. So
Vanilla and butterscotch is good.
I've never had that. Interesting. Vanilla butterscotch. What would you have that on? What is that used on?
Well, like a butterscotch flavor, like maybe you put butterscotch. Like, have you ever seen like the syrups like for ice cream, like or like just like the candy butterscotch and maybe just like vanilla flavor, like
Hmm. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like you go to like a 31 flavors or whatever. I don't know if you have those in your area, but like the Baskin Robbins or ice cream place and they put it on top. Is that what you're talking about?
oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. The let's see, next one down. What is fall? And then someone just gives him I'll leave some of that out there. So, but yeah, he just gives an explanation there. He had a little profane word in there, so I won't say what he said. So, um, but yeah, the how do you so yours? You already gave your response, and I was going to say, how do you feel about this? But pumpkin spice at 70%, which indicates that. I mean, of course, this is not a scientific poll. This is just a random selection of people. It doesn't mean this is what everyone how it would it would what's what I'm looking for. It doesn't correspond to the general population, I should say. The I think that I guess it's a I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever had pumpkin spice, to be honest, and so I can't honestly say, but I do know in general, when I have something that's pumpkin in it, I kind of get I kind of turn away from it. So in general, I would probably be under the category of no, I don't like that too much. So what is your overall feeling though about this?
About the overall poll or Paul? I don't even know how to say the word. Is it Paul or Paul? I think it's Paul.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
probably sounds stupid. Um, I mean, I could have guessed that pumpkin spice probably would have been a top one because I think pumpkin spice is really big. I feel like there are a few people that I've met that don't like it, but they're like very few and far between. And they just like really don't like it. But then everyone else I've talked about like loves it. So, and then apple cider I think is the next. Like I have a couple of people at work that always talk about like making hot apple cider in the fall. My favorite honestly is probably salted caramel. Like I love caramel flavored stuff, like on ice cream, like in coffee, caramel on a pumpkin pie. I don't know, caramel. I like salted caramel. That probably would have been my favorite, or maple. I like maple too. But I guess like you can eat that maybe stuff more year round, where pumpkin spice, like you see a lot more pumpkin spice flavored stuff in the fall, I feel like, than any of the other flavors. So it would make sense, like people know who they're marketing to, or like they know people like it. So that's good that they're making it.
Hmm.
Different companies are making things.
Yeah, I for me, I guess I, I'd have to taste. You know what I have to do? I'm not sure. I've had apple cider, but it's been a while. So, and I do remember
Mm.
kind of liking it. So I'd have to go through each of these just to give an honest answer. To be yeah, right now, I couldn't actually give an honest answer. Even with the pumpkin spice, even though I kind of shy away from pumpkins, I would have to. I can't give an honest answer right now. So I'll leave this one. For me, it'd be blank until give me a sample of each of these, and then I could give you an actual, an honest, a genuine, good response at that point.
I mean,
So
pumpkin spice, I feel like doesn't really taste like pumpkin. It's more like the spices that go in a pumpkin pie. So it's more like the ginger, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the clove, like all those like that seasoning is more of like a pumpkin spice.
okay. I'm not really a big fan of pumpkin pies though either. So
Okay. You probably don't like pumpkin spice.
actually, I hate to say this, but I'm not a big fan of any pies. I don't just it's something. It's just I like. I remember when I was at my uncle's house many years ago. It was like we had a nice big dinner, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna have cherry pie," and I didn't want to say anything. I was like, to me, I was like, it's just a bunch of group. It's just nasty looking cherries inside of a thing. I was like, I don't really want to eat this.
Like canned filling.
It's like yeah, it's like it was like I didn't see any point to it. It's just like it was like I ate it, but I was very reluctant. I smiled even though I didn't really like it. So, how about you? What do you like cherry pie?
I'm not a very big like fruit dessert person. So no, like I don't really like pies. Pumpkin pie is okay. Um, my dad makes really good pumpkin pie, so I feel like I always have to eat it, but I probably wouldn't have to, but he makes good pumpkin pie. But I feel like pies in general, like pecan pie is okay, but like fruit pies and stuff, no. I'd rather have like a piece of cake or a brownie or a cookie or a muffin or like something like that than a piece of pie or like
Okay.
a fruit bar.
The I got you. I as far as pies, I'm trying to remember if there's any pies I actually do like. If
A chocolate pie, like if it wasn't fruit based.
maybe is I want to say that I've had some sort of pie that wasn't fruit based and but I can't maybe I don't know. Did I talk about my thing about donuts? It's kind of similar with donuts. How I don't like donuts. I don't like donuts that have cream in them either. It's the same.
Mm.
It's like the same kind of thing. I don't. I if it has a lot of gloopy stuff in it, I feel disgusted by eating it. That's all. It's
Yeah.
and the whenever I like the office, I might have said this before, but whenever I was in the office and like and they say, does anyone want to does anyone want to get donuts? I'd say make sure they have holes in them because I only eat donuts with holes because I can't stand stuff inside them. So they always make sure to get some donuts that had holes in them for me because those are the only type of donuts I eat. It's the same with pies. Anything that's like gloopy, ugh,
Yeah.
I just get disgusted by it. So
I could see that. Yeah. I
the
feel that.
and I'm trying to remember though. there's probably some sort of pie. I do remember. Oh, and this also dates back even when I was a kid. I remember one time I was like in third or fourth grade, and where there was a McDonald's like not too far up the road, and the school was saying we're gonna get everyone McDonald's lunch for some reason, and everybody was like, "Yay, we're gonna have McDonald's!" And I do remember they said at the very last minute, "Oh, we're not going to get anyone French fries because by the time the French fries get here, they're going to be too cold. So we're going to get everyone cherry pies." And I was like, "Oh," and I got really angry at that point, even
Yeah,
when I
I
was,
didn't know they had cherry pies. I know they have cherry pies. I know they had apple pies, right?
oh, maybe it's apple pie. Sorry. It's been a while since I've been there.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
okay. I was like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. It probably was an apple pie, but yeah, even so, whatever it was the same. I just got disgusted, and I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'll take. I wanted to say out loud, I'll take the cold fries over the apple pie any day, please.
right. I was gonna say, no, if they had cherry pies, that would be really interesting, and maybe it was just something I haven't heard about. But did you hear McDonald's actually is getting rid of their plastic kids toys like in Happy Meals now?
No, no. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, they just like released something last week or like earlier the week or whatever. They're getting rid of to reduce like plastic waste. So there's still gonna like be toys in the Happy Meals, but they're gonna be, I guess, like plant-based or like more like cardboard toys or cutouts and stuff like that to reduce on plastic, which is a good thing. But I'm kind of curious what they're gonna come up with.
So plastic in the sense, what's the is it just to reduce the amount of plastic garbage, I guess, and that's going out?
Yeah,
Or oh,
yeah, because like people I forget the number, the statistic, but like so many Happy Meals and stuff are like bought per day. Cause I mean, McDonald's is like nationwide and like they probably use a lot of plastic for those toys. So I think that would cut down a lot. So it's good they're doing that. I'm just kind of curious, like what kind of stuff they're going to come up with to put in their Happy Meals. At least they're not getting rid of the toys completely because I feel like that was always a fun thing to get a Happy Meal with a toy. I basically just wanted a Happy Meal for the toy.
I do remember I do remember when Happy Meals were just a one-time thing. Like it was like they brought it out and it would like disappear, and it was like it would come back
Mhm.
later, and then it eventually became a regular thing. But I do remember back in the day there was this, maybe it was just a local thing. They didn't have it, and it was like I guess it was brought back by popular demand or whatever, but I haven't seen a Happy Meal in so long. I don't even know what they look like. Wasn't I think it was Burger King that had like their version of a Happy Meal, and it had these different words and phrases on them, and it was like it got to the point where it was like the people they were depressing words. Some of the words weren't that friendly sounding, and so I can't remember. I have to look that up. I should have looked this up before I said anything, but it was like people were not buying whatever the Burger King's version of the Happy Meal was because these words were being imprinted on there in some way, and it was like, why would you buy something that has these words on there for your kids, kind of thing. Anyway, I have to look that up. It's
Right.
another subject altogether. But the Happy Meals, I assume they're probably still the same. They still come in those little containers. I guess they fold up and everything.
That's how I picture it. I don't know. I haven't gotten a Happy Meal in forever, and I don't have anyone I'm buying like Happy Meals for. So I would hope so because that was always like fun and cute.
Let, let me take a look. Let me go and bring that up here. Let me see. I got to see if they look the same from what as I remember them. So I would say, yeah, for last time I probably got a Happy Meal was probably, I was very, very young. So hold on a second. Here we go. Meal. Let's see what we got here.
I don't
Oh,
think I've ever had a Burger King Happy Meal.
that's that's not what I wrote. Whoops, hold on a second there. Let me bring my thing up here. There we go.
I don't remember them coming in those little pouches. I thought it just came in a McDonald's bag.
That's okay. What I remember is they looked like the shape. Okay, like let's bring this up. It looked like this. The shape was the same, but it didn't
Mm.
look like this. It was more decorated differently. In fact, I think I saw it looks like something more like this. Like there was drawings on it. That's what I remember. More like, but something more like
Oh yeah,
so. Okay, let me see the Burger King.
you got to write in like 90s, 2000s Happy Meal and see what comes up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's take a look. Oops, 1990s. There we go. Yeah, yeah, I guess kind of like that, I guess.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, the newer ones look very generic compared. Well, even that's like I haven't seen. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's even how to remember. So, but let me look at since we got this up here. Let me bring up the Burger King one, uh, just for the heck of it. See what it was. Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
this
had no one is happy all the time. What is it? Let me see. They had. Oh, here we go. Yeah. They had. Yeah. See, this is what they had on there. I don't know if you can see this.
yeah,
It's
they have that on their boxes?
yeah, pissed meal.
Remember that. Why would they do that?
I don't know, and I don't I would not want to buy something that says that on there. And that's an actual
Yeah.
that's this is real stuff too. And I remember it was like, no, the blue meal. Okay, that's okay. I guess I don't know but salty meal. I don't know. That's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know what Yaz means. Do you know what Yaz means? Maybe I'm a little out of touch there.
It's probably just like yes, like kind of like that word like people like use like that. I guess I get like yes, you want it, or like yes.
But yeah, but
All
this
the other
one,
ones, I don't really
yeah,
get
that's
why they would want that.
yeah,
Unless
that's weird. Yeah, okay. That's what I was looking into before. But yeah, I just didn't. Yeah. Anyway, that's. I'm not going to comment very much more on that. But you can get the general idea as to why it didn't really work very well. So.
yeah, that seems weird.
So, do you have a question? What we talked about before we went live? What was we wanted to talk about? What's the question we want to ask for the our viewers
Well,
for this week?
yeah, you were saying you had some like interesting roommate stories, so we could ask if anyone has had an interesting roommate story.
How about would you like to throw in that the expression I use, a roommate from hell? Have you ever had a roommate from hell? Like that?
Sure, that's a good one.
Okay. Have you ever had a roommate? Let's see if I'm spelling it right. Roommate. It's one. Is roommate one word or two?
You're missing an O,
Okay.
and take away the M. You have two M's.
There's only one M. Oh, is it
Yeah,
really? Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
then take away the A in the beginning because you have a you ever.
Oh yeah. Have you ever? Thank you. Have you ever had a roommate from hell? And I'm typing too quickly when I do that. You
Oh,
sure it's?
maybe it is two words. Wait, double right click on it.
Let's see. I think that's it.
Is there two M's?
Let's see. We can do a real quick search here. Give me 1 second. I'm pretty sure that's one word, but I'm not 100%. Let me see. Roommate. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's one
It is
word.
two M's. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So everything's yeah,
Oh yeah, I
roommate. Yeah.
guess roommate. Yeah.
Okay. If you're what the dictionary one's saying one word. Okay, cool. So have you so we'll put down oh, and also we'll add a question. Give an example and we'll just say leave a comment. Comment. All right. Make sure I typed out put yes and no.
Or never had a roommate. That could be an option.
That's what I was thinking exactly. Never had a roommate.
One could be I've had several. Several.
Several. Would you say it again? I'm sorry, I missed
Yeah,
that one.
like several. Like you've had several roommates from
Oh,
hell.
you had several. Okay. Okay. I've had several. Several. Okay. Should we put the whole thing in a roommates from hell just to make sure you know people know what that means?
Sure.
Let's see, roommates from hell. There we go. There we go. Anything else?
Um,
Let's see.
no. I mean, that's the same thing as no. I was gonna say like I prefer to live alone, but I guess that would just be like a no.
We can say, yeah,
Or I've never
yeah, I
had a
live
roommate.
alone. That's a good idea. Yeah, that is separate. I like that one. I live alone. So live alone, or I don't have. Well, you could. Well, I mean, if they're married or something, that's that might also. That's you don't technically live alone. I guess I live alone, or I've never had a roommate. Oh, it's I guess.
I already
Yeah,
have that though.
yeah, I know. Or
Unless we change the wording on that one to just
yeah,
I prefer to live alone.
or I prefer to okay. Okay, yeah, let's yeah, I prefer to live alone. Is that yeah, okay, I got you now. Prefer to live alone. Like that. Is that good?
Mhm.
Okay. Have you there from hell? Give an example. How leave a comment? Yes, no. Never had a roommate. I've never I've had several. Okay, I'm just proofreading what it said. Okay. All right, here we go. Cool. Alrighty. So, I've been telling you about my well, we can come back to a little later. I've been going through my my cleaning of my property. I told you it's a project I started back in February.
Mhm.
So the what's going on in my property is I have all of these items I was just trying to get rid of, and one of the things I'm trying to get rid of, I have several pieces of like electronic equipment, like stereo equipment, TV sets, computer monitors, and basically it's left over from a roommate that I had several years ago when I owned my first house. I when I bought my first house, I don't know if you ever purchased a house, but you have to put down a down payment and then you have a closing cost. And by the time it's all done, you've put on so much money. You're like, for me anyway, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to pay these bills now. So I decided, let me try getting a roommate so I can help pay these bills off. And so I brought a guy in. It was a guy that I'd known. He hadn't. I didn't look. I knew that he was not necessarily a great choice, but I decided to go with him anyway. And when he moved in, he decided to start bringing. Like he would find things when he was out. He was a delivery person. He would find things that people were throwing out, such as old TV sets, old stereo equipment, and bring it back to the house as if I wanted it. And that's so when I moved from my house that I'm in, that I was into the house I'm in now, I'm doing this major cleanup. I'm thinking to myself, like today and last week, all this stuff I'm trying to get rid of, some of it is his fault. It's like stuff that he brought back to the house. And I have no idea why he would do this. It was like, yeah, this guy was when he did it, he was older than me. He's in his 40s, 40, I don't know how old he was, but he was in his 40s. He's going around bringing all this crap that no one wants. It's obviously junk. And I'm like, I kept on saying, why do you keep on bringing this? And it was almost like he was trying to please me in some way.
He was buying you stuff. And he's like,
Yeah.
you'll like this. And like, you're just like, please stop. I don't want that.
Yeah, and it kind of reminded me, if you ever had an outdoor cat. When I was a kid, I have cats right now, but they're indoor cats. But when I was a kid, we had to keep them outside because my mother was allergic. And the cats we had would periodically kill a bird and bring it up to the front of the house. I don't know if you've ever seen this. And it was
Yeah.
almost like they were saying this is their way of giving us a present of some sort. They would kill the
Mhm.
bird and just leave the bird at the front door for us. This guy, I think his name was Tom. I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure his name was Tom.
You don't even
Tom
know your roommate's name, your old
Yeah,
roommate's
yeah,
name.
it's been a while, and I kind of want to forget him because he did so many bad things. So, but the Tom would he would it was like he was like the cat. He was just bringing this stuff home, and
Wow.
the thing was, this is stuff that was obviously junk in the first place. I have and I can't fully condemn him because when I was a kid, I was like 10, 12, 13 years old. I had a paper route, and every day trash day would come along. Like I would deliver the papers, and I would see what people were throwing out. And if they had something that was just sitting next to the trash can they didn't want anymore, I'd bring it back to the house and see if I could do something with it. But that's I was stupid. I was a kid, but I grew out of it. This guy was in his 40s and he was still doing the same thing, finding stuff on the side, that was being thrown out and just bringing it back to the house. And then now I'm stuck with all this stuff and I got to get rid of it. So, and when I moved out of the house, you might say, why didn't they get rid of it back then? At the time, I was trying to get out of the other house as quickly as possible and move everything because I was doing most of the moving on my own. It was very hard to do that. I just packed everything up and just, okay, I'll get rid of it when I get to the new house. And I never did. So now I'm finally
Mhm.
getting to the point where I'm getting rid of all this stuff, and it's going to be a chore just to get rid of because it's my basement is full of some of the stuff that he brought back.
And he didn't take it with him? He just like
No,
basically bought it and left it with you?
yeah, well, that's the part where it gets even worse because for the last 3 or 4 months that he was there, he didn't pay his rent, so I locked him out of the
Mm.
house. So
That was
and
probably like a form of payment to you. He's like, here, I'll give you stuff.
yeah, it was like it was like almost like he thought he could barter his way into staying in the house. And that's what it's another thing about him. How he always had this idea that he was I don't know. Didn't have to pay. He would always say, "Oh, I'll pay the rent. I'll pay the rent. I'll pay the rent." And he never paid the rent. I mean, for the last few months that I was there. And I just got to the point where I locked him out. I let him back in one final time to get his stuff out when I sold the house. And there's nothing. it was bad enough he brought all this stuff in. On the very last day, he came by with a moving truck, and to top everything off, he smashed his truck into one of my cars and wrecked. He did damage to the fender and the bumper. And I was like, and at first I thought it was just a hit and run, like the vehicle was parked in front of my house. I thought somebody had smashed into my car and drove off. And I went to my phone messages and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, when I brought the moving truck in, I ran into your car." So this guy, this is definitely a roommate from hell, and it's determined.
Yeah. Where'd you find this guy?
When I was going to college, when I was going to school, I worked for part time as a courier. I would make deliveries in my car locally in the
Yeah.
DC area, and he worked at the same company but at a different time. So we didn't work there at the same time, but I kept in touch with some of the people that worked at that company, and so once in a while we get together and go to a car. I'm into cars. I like classic cars. We go to classic car shows together, and that's how I met him because we went to classic car
Mhm.
shows together, and we would go to and we had always had a good time. I never lived with the guy. We just enjoyed. We had a common interest, and we had fun times. Looking at the cars and everything. And after that, when he moved in, I realized he's not. He's bad. It was a bad choice altogether. He even I should have realized beforehand. He even said he was living. This is how bad the guy was. He wasn't living in a house when I told him I was looking for someone to live, like a roommate situation. He was actually living in a garage, and he was paying rent to live inside a garage, like where you work on cars. So he was not, and the guy, he even told me that he was paying the guy rent, but the guy wasn't. If he said to me, "Hey, if you hear the guy say I'm not paying my rent, ignore him because I am paying my rent." The fact that he brought that to my attention without me even
Yeah.
asking the guy should have been a big sign right there, a big clue right there.
Right.
Red flag, I should say. So
Right, because like why else would someone say that? Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's
So
crazy. I
what?
remind
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say now if I like move in with someone, I'm just gonna like buy a bunch of stuff and just like leave it outside in the yard and be like, oh yeah, I bought that for you. Or like, oh yeah, and just kind of see what they say because that's kind of funny just to do as like a joke.
Uh,
But
the when I one of the things he did bring back, and this kind of I don't know why he did this. One day I came home and he had like a couple dozen construction cones, like the pointed cones that you see when you go through a work zone when you're driving your car, or like they cone the road off so you can drive. He had like, I asked him, "Where did you get these?" I don't remember what he said, but the one thing I do remember him saying to me was, "Well, you'll never know when you'll need these." And I'm thinking to myself, when does anybody, I didn't say this to him, I should have said those. When does anybody ever say, "Oh, I need 2 dozen construction cones"? Oh, nobody, whoever says that.
yeah, that's an odd one. I know I had like cones when I was a kid, kind of like little cones, but like that was like for basketball to like dribble in and out of like and kind of weave. So unless he's like playing some sport or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
And
maybe like it to like construction off a area if you're building something. Um, yeah, I can't see anyone really needing that many construction cones. Is
yeah,
that like
and
the weirdest thing that he's bought?
that
That he
was my,
bought?
yeah, and he didn't buy, by the way, none of this, he didn't buy any of this stuff. I just want to make sure, he, yeah, he just found it laying around wherever it was. And so he would just bring it back to the house. I honestly, I think he might have, the one time he did bring back a couch, I think and I think oh no, it was a chair. Oh, and the chair smelled awful too. Oh yeah, it was awful. Yeah, it smelled like whatever. It's not even worth describing. It was just, and it looked like yeah. I was gonna say it was okay, but because I think my dad does something similar. Like my dad, like he goes around finding things that are being thrown out, but not like this guy. My dad, like he builds things, and so like he'll go to construction sites and he'll find things that are being thrown out, and he'll take that. That's a little different than actually going through like trash. And I think he brought back a couch one time. I was thinking of the couch my dad found or whatever. That was actually a pretty decent item. This was
Yeah.
completely, yeah. This chair had an odor. It looked nasty, and but the one when the getting back to the construction cones, what I did was I immediately, because he had them out in front of the house. I'm not sure if he stole them. I'm not sure where he got them from. He wasn't a person that was known for stealing things. Obviously, he was known for taking things. So my first thought is, what's going to
Yeah.
happen if some cop drives by in front of my house and sees a couple dozen construction cones, and he has a report of some construction cones being missing from somewhere. I immediately, as soon as as soon as I could do it, I hid them underneath the house. I had a crawl space under the house, and I said, as soon as I could, I think I took them to the local landfill and just got rid of them as quickly as I could. So,
Did he ever ask like whatever happened to my cones?
no, at that point, that was close to the point where I eventually locked him out because he wasn't paying his rent anyway. So
Mhm.
it didn't really matter to me or, yeah, or to him either. So, but yeah, that's my roommate from hell story.
How long did
Um,
that go on for?
Not very long. I think it's more like at the most maybe 6 or 7 months because he moved in. He paid the rent fine for the first month. He paid part of the rent for the second month, and after that, that's when he started to get behind. And like he kept on saying, "Oh, don't worry, I'll have the rent. I'll have the rent." I'd let it go on for like 3 or 4 months. Then eventually, I just locked him out, and then I eventually sold the house during that time period as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
it wasn't relatively speaking, it wasn't too long. It wasn't a year or anything like that. But yeah, it was pretty yeah I'm sure there are people that have worse stories, but it was just a very bad situation. Oh, and getting back to the car he smashed into was an old 1978 Ford Pinto. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the old Pintos, but
Mhm.
the car is kind of rare. It's not really like a collector's car. Some people like them. And it was a nice shape, except now obviously with the body damage. I ended up going to a junkyard and I spent all day. I actually found a fender and a bumper. It was they had a whole bunch of Pintos in there because this junkyard specialized in older cars, not newer cars. And I spent all day. I finally found one Pinto that had like maybe a dozen Pintos. One Pinto that had no damage on the fender or the bumper. I was able to get that from him. So I was able to get the replacement parts, but I never actually fixed the car. So, but so it's still it's still got the body damage. One day I'll eventually pull the car apart and fix it. But at least I was able to find the part. He didn't pay
Right.
for that either. He said he would pay for it, but of course he didn't pay for it. So I could have sued him. I was just so busy with work. I could have sued him for the back rent. I could have sued him. I just wanted him out of my life at that point. It
Right.
caused me too much hassle. I figured if I even took him to court, it'd probably be, even if I took him to court, I'd probably win, but then I'd still have to go through the process of getting the money from him anyway. So
Well, and he probably doesn't have any money.
yeah,
Or he
exactly.
does, and he's just not using it. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're not using it and you have it, then of course he might have money or he just doesn't have any. You
right.
never know, I guess.
Now, as far as the roommates, before that, that's the only time I ever had an official roommate. When I was younger, I actually rented a room in a house with other people, but I had my own private entrance. I had my own private bathroom. And so I don't consider that really a roommate situation, though technically it could be, but we didn't really share anything. So it was almost like I lived in I kind of like say almost like an apartment that was part of a house. So that's the situation with Tom was clearly a roommate situation because we would actually live in the same house. Like we would occupy the same parts of the house, except for our bedrooms, of course. We shared the kitchen, we shared the bathroom, we shared everything. So that's a real roommate
Mhm.
situation. So
And then you're like, I never want another roommate again.
yeah, exactly. So oh. But as far as what led this up to, as I said, was cleaning everything up. And as I was cleaning, getting stuff organized, what I'm doing is I'm going to get everything organized. I'm going to take it all. One or two. I have a trash service. I can call them up and I can tell them, hey, I want you to pick up all these old TV sets. Come down, they'll pick it up for me. I just got to call them ahead of time, or I could just drive down to the landfill myself and just dump them off. But while I was doing this, the some of the stuff I was doing some yard work again today, and as part of the cleanup, one of the things that also got my attention was I don't know if you have a problem with this. Maybe I brought this up before. Are crickets? Do you have a problem with crickets during this time
Mm.
of year?
More, I know like they were really big about like the cicadas coming. I was like terrified. I let a cicada in my apartment. I had like my balcony door open and all of a sudden I hear kind of like a cat playing with something. And I'm like, did you get a new toy? Like, what is that? Because it was so big and it's not what I pictured a cicada to look like. And I like took a picture of it and like sent it to like 4 people. And I'm like, what is this? And everyone's like, that's a cicada. Because I've never seen them before. Um, And I was like, oh my gosh, like one's in my apartment. And like I was like terrified. But people were really big about like those. But I know there are a lot of crickets where I grew up in Wisconsin. Like we'd hear those constantly outside, but not so much. I haven't really noticed many in Kentucky.
No, I'm bringing up a picture. Is that what they look like? Like these?
A cicada? Oh,
Yeah.
the sea. Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like it was way bigger.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I don't know. It was, yeah, it was kind of, yeah, it was really big. And I was like, what in the world? There's been so many bugs that I've seen here that I'm like, what is that? Like, there was something like almost the size of my hand that was some type of like a moth or something. Or I don't know, some type of, I think it was like a praying mantis or something. Or no, is that a praying? I don't know. But it was, yeah. Wait, look up praying mantis. Now I feel like, is that an actual animal? Or is
yes.
that
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Hold on. There you go. Yeah, I've seen these like there, like that.
yeah, that thing was like huge.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but those are pretty friendly.
I
Those are
know,
pretty docile. They
itchy
don't.
just thinking about it.
They're pretty docile. They don't hurt anybody, as far as I
Oh no,
know.
I know. They're just really scary looking. They look like mini aliens.
Oh, I've never seen one that looks like that. That's interesting.
It's
But
like weird when you look at bugs' eyes, like
yeah,
spiders' eyes and like bugs' eyes. Like they're just like I don't
yeah.
know. Mm.
There we go. How do you like the eyes on that one?
Oh my god! Don't put me out in the wild. I'm living in the wrong place. Um,
So the cicadas, getting back to the cicadas, is this what you said? This is what you saw, right? Something like
Yeah,
this?
and it was almost like the size of my hand like that, and I was just like at first I thought it was a toy, and I'm like, "I did not buy you that, like, what is that?" And then I saw it move or, like, kinda like the wings flap, and I was like, "Are there batteries in that thing?" Like, I honestly it freaked me out because I don't think I've ever looked up a cicada when I found out they were coming. I was like, "Oh, whatever, like, they'll be in the bushes, like, I'm not gonna hear that or, like, I won't see them." Because most people say, like, they come out at night and they're in, like, tall grass and like bushes. But here it is like 1 in the afternoon and a cicada just somehow popped on my floor. I didn't even see it come in.
Now, as far as
Um,
cicadas, is this an annual thing? Do they come every year?
I think they come every like is it every 6 years? It's every like so many years. Like they don't come every year now because I think they take like they hibernate or something. I don't know. I'd have to like look it up. But I know people were coming out with like cicada chips and like chocolate and stuff this past year because they were like the
Uh,
people that were dealing with lots of cicadas. They're like turning them into food.
oh yeah, that's tasty. Yeah,
Like chocolate sauce.
in this area, it may be the same where you are. The cicadas come every 17 years.
Oh, is
So
it 17?
yeah.
Okay.
So when they come, they leave this. They have this like ringing sound. They can hear it. Almost sounds like the whole area is ringing really loudly. Do you have that?
That's what I've heard, but I didn't hear that. So that's why I was like, oh, they're not like in this area. So then when I and now I'm hearing like something, I'm like, is there another bug in here? There was a bee in here earlier. Um I wish like it's really weird. I've never seen a place like this that like they don't come with uh screens. Like the
Oh,
windows, like and nothing has screens on it. So if you open the window, like bugs can just fly in. But I'm like, I
oh,
want to let some air in here. Yeah. So I had to buy like pop-in screens.
oh my goodness! Wow, yeah, it's like yeah, I think that'd be especially where you and I both live basically in the northern end of the South. It's pretty common, especially in the summertime. You wouldn't have screens.
Mhm.
That's just common practice to have screens on walls. I'm surprised they don't have that for you. Um,
Especially because I'm up so high and like I could fall out of my window and just because there's no screen.
what what about what about you have the cat, right? What about your is your how do you deal with that? Do you keep the windows closed? Like how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I'll usually keep the windows closed because I feel like if they're open, I mean, I'll let her sometimes out on my balcony, but she did this scary thing. Like sometimes she'll like, because like also the railing on the balcony doesn't go completely down to the ground. So she can like kind of like stick her head out and like look at it. And I'm like, okay, she's not going to jump. She's just looking. But the other day she was laying sideways and like her whole, like, like cats like arch and like do these like weird like twists. She was like doing that hanging off of like the balcony and I'm on the third floor. So I'm pretty high up. And her like feet were dangling off. It was pretty much just like one arm and her head that was like still on the balcony, and I almost like had a heart attack. But I'm just like, okay, like clearly you kind of know what you're doing because it looks like you're like stretching. But I was like, oh my gosh, like just come here. And she like flipped herself around really quick and like pushed her like paws like on the back of the balcony, but it's not like that big of a gap. And I'm just like, I'm surprised she got through that thing. She probably knew what she was doing the whole time, but to me, that I'm just like, I don't know a cat's body, like how it feels. So like, it was just terrifying. And I'm like, I'm not letting you back out on the balcony, or I'm gonna like put boxes like up against that railing because like I thought she was gonna fall off and then look at me and like start screaming.
Well, I got I got to tell you, I've heard stories where cats have fallen off high balconies, and
Yeah.
believe it or not, the higher the balcony in some situations, the survival rate for cats is actually higher than on lower ones. And
Yeah.
so, the reason I think is because when cats fall, their immediate instinct is to flip around, so they land feet first, but also they have time to prepare for it, and something to that effect. I don't remember. I don't. I can't bring up the source where I heard that, but I just remember hearing that years ago. That and it's not. I'm not saying that's the case for every cat, of course, but somehow they're able to survive better at a higher fall than a lower fall in some situations.
Well, and I think it depends. I don't know if we were talking about this or if I was talking about this with someone else, but there's a certain number of floors like in between an amount that they can fall. Like if it's under that, they'll get hurt. If it's over that, they'll get hurt. But it's like an in between a certain like height that
Hmm.
yeah, like will give them enough time. Yeah, I think because they have these like little wings too, like under their arms, and they have to like not like wings, but just like extra skin flaps that like allow them if they have enough time, they can allow it to like open so they can kind of just like glide down. But if they're up too high, of course, they're gonna like hurt themselves.
Right.
But they can't be like, yeah, too low where they don't have time to open like their flaps or whatever they're called.
Mhm. Getting back to the whole the bug thing.
Mm-hmm.
What no what the original topic I brought was the fact that right now it's cricket season. I guess I don't know if that's an actual term, but it's something I created myself. Cricket because starting in August roughly and lasting through September, October, and sometimes even November, their crickets they're just out there. And the crickets, the problem with the crickets is that they can be so loud that they're sometimes louder than my alarm clocks. I don't know if you've had when you're up on the third floor, so you obviously I wouldn't think that would affect you. But have you ever had a situation? I've had crickets get into my house, and when I first moved into the house I'm at right now, I have a bedroom in the basement. I lived down there first 2 years, and crickets would get in this time of year, and it would just drive me crazy. I'd be like one cricket just I'd be in the sleeping in the at 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden I hear chirp chirp, and it's loud. I'm like, and it was just driving me crazy. You ever had a situation like that?
No, I mean I've heard bugs outside and they've like drove me crazy because I'm trying to sleep or something, but nothing that's ever like came in the house that I was just like that was doing that. That brought up a question that I was thinking that we could post was, would you ever eat a bug? Because I know people eat like chocolate covered crickets or like cricket flour is actually a thing. You can buy cricket flour for like protein.
Oh,
Um,
right. We could ask, we could pose that question as well. Do you want to, here, let me, I just brought that back up. Let me, one second. Let me bring this over here again. Sorry. Yeah, sure. Would you want to post that right now? Would you ever eat a bug? Is that what you would say?
yeah.
I
Would you ever eat a bug food or have you?
okay. Make sure I'm on the right tab here. Yes, we are. Okay, cool. Would you ever eat a bug? What was the rest of that? Oh, darn.
Where are you typing?
I don't know. I thought my cursor was there. I don't know what it was doing. There it is. Would
Okay.
you ever eat? I thought that's there now. Anyway, we got it. Would you ever eat a bug? And what was the rest of that?
Um, Here, wait. Would you ever? So you put the A before eat, put it after eat.
Yes, thank you.
Would you ever eat a bug like in a food? How would you word that? Would you ever eat? Maybe would you ever eat food made with bugs? Or eat food that had bugs?
Oh, okay. Would you?
A bug delicacy? 'Cause I mean, I guess like if you say, "Would you ever eat food with bugs?" That would just be like food. There's like bugs in your food.
Yeah.
So I guess like yeah, how would we word that? Like, would you ever eat a
Uh,
food made with bugs?
yeah, or insects. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever eat food? You ever eat food
Oh, you
made
took away eat.
prepared with or prepared with bugs or made? I guess made with would be better.
Yeah. I
Bugs.
hear a bug flying around in here, a fly. Would you ever eat? You forgot to eat.
Oh, it did it again. Thank you.
Deleted it.
Yeah. Would you ever eat food made with bugs? Okay, is that good?
Hmm. You, I
Okay.
guess you could put like in parentheses like the stuff we're talking about, like chocolate covered crickets, cricket flour.
Okay. Let's see. We could also do give examples too. So leave a
Oh,
comment.
sure.
Uh, I'll say, wait a second here. Yes.
I always leave that patio door open and now there's a fly in here and I can like hear it buzzing and now it's driving me crazy.
Oh goodness, yeah, I had a fly get in my house the other day. I usually take a nap in the middle of the day, and I'm taking a nap, and all of a sudden I hear no, there's no other flies in my house. There's one fly decided it's gonna land right next to my ear and make this big buzzing sound while I'm sleeping. I'm like, what the?
Oh no.
I was like, not only did it once, it came back and did it a second time. So I was within like the next 5-10 minutes. It drove me crazy. But yeah, what you put what examples we could put like wait a minute, do you want to put the examples or want the chocolate covered crickets or whatever?
Maybe
Did
just
you
like
want
one so they can like understand what we're talking about.
say it again? Yeah, you broke up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe just like one or two so they can like get an idea of what we're talking about.
Okay. What would be a good one? Such as
So yeah, like,
chocolate.
oops, my screen. Chocolate covered crickets.
What is that? Wait a second. I'll just there we go. Oops. Covered. Is that a thing?
Yeah. Someone actually offered me one at a fair once when I was working and I was like, no, thank you. Cricket flour.
Cricket flour. Really? Oh, I've never heard that one at all. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it like just came out. Well, I've just heard about it within the past few years for people I think like eating paleo or something, or just like to like not get carbs but eat like a flour and like get protein. Um,
The I've
I,
heard. I think I've heard. Sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just thinking it's some type of like diet, or maybe you just don't want carbs.
Hmm. The what's the well, I've heard of chocolate covered ants. I think that's what I'm thinking of when I hear chocolate covered.
Ooh.
So what was the other one? I'm sorry. What was that other one again that you said?
Oh, just like cricket flour.
Cricket flour. Okay. Flour. Okay.
Oh, FLOUR, like the food flour.
FLOU. Oh, flour. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
And how about
No.
instead of like yes and no, we do like absolutely, or like uh, no could be disgusting.
uh, how about we could do how about this? Hell yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Um, or maybe
Like
roast.
no disgusting, gross.
How's that? Oops. Oh, can't think of it. Hold on. Yeah, I can't type my keys correctly here. There we go.
Um, I've tried several.
Okay. I've tried several. Okay.
Maybe, or it
Maybe.
depends what it is. Maybe like yeah, like maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. I like that. Depending on the situation, I guess. Depending on depending depending on uh, depending on the insect, maybe. Or
Sure.
okay. Depending on the insect. Oops. Okay. Alrighty. Is that good? Okay, we'll post that one there. Okay, cool. So getting back,
Should we check your?
well, let's hold it. We'll come back at the end. We'll check them both at the same time. How's that? Because okay, cool. So we got that. We got both those questions, and we'll come back and we'll check both those. What I was leading up to was the noise that keeps me up at night. The other thing that I've had a problem with. I don't know if you had this because you have a cat, but I've made the mistake of leaving, like when you go food shopping. Do you get the plastic bags when you go food shopping?
Oh, like for garbage bags?
No,
Or
like no, just when you put when they put the food in your bags, like
oh,
the
I mean,
just the,
like,
you do okay because I
well, I don't like to. No, I try to get paper if they have them, but lately they've been out, so I've been having to get plastic.
okay, yeah, the place I go to does. I don't even know if they offer paper anymore. I was kind of surprised, but
Mhm.
yeah, so I usually get the plastic ones, but what I did is I made the mistake of when I would get the food all done, I would leave the bags just lying around. And I don't know if you know this, but cats will lick certain kinds of plastic, including the plastic that's in those plastic bags. At least mine would. And
Mhm.
it's something to do with it was the way it was explained to me, and I don't remember where I heard this. They 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 sense the plastic as there's either something, the smell or the taste. I think it's a combination of both. They think it's food, and so they start licking the bag as if they're eating something, but they're not. Nothing's there. They're just lick, 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 lick. And I had a cat about she died back in 2002, but when she was still alive, if I left any of these bags out, if I went to sleep and she would get her hands on one of these, she would lick it in the middle of the night and wake me up. It was just as annoying as those cricket sounds. And she'd go
Yeah.
lick, 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 lick. As her tongues have those the tongues. They're really coarse tongues. And of course, she's licking against this bag, and I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh my god, that noise is so annoying. And I made after that I made a concerted effort every time I went shopping. If I got those bags, I would just throw them away immediately, or dispose of them if they could be recycled. Of course, whatever. Just put them away so that the cats could not get to them. But that would just drive me crazy. And even during the daytime, if she did it during the daytime when I was still awake, because it happened because I was asleep at night, the same thing would happen. Even though I was wide awake, it would remind me of being woken up in the middle of the night, and I would just go ballistic. I was like, oh, please stop doing that. And I had to walk over and get the bag from her. She wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just,
Right. Just playing.
yeah. But it was just so annoying. My uncle, on my dad's side of the family, everybody is, all my uncles, they were all photographers. And so he used to have this thing where he would take pictures. This was back in the day before digital photography, where they had to develop the film, and he would had this little thing where he would take a picture of a food item, like chicken or something, and he would hold it up to the cat, and the cat would start licking it. And it's the same principle as the plastic bags. What happens is the cat smells the material that's on the picture, and they think it's they think it's food, and so they start licking the picture. And the joke is the cat, you hold up a picture of chicken, and they think they're licking the chicken when they're actually, in fact, they're licking the material that's on the photograph. It's an old. I don't know if you can do it with modern photos anymore, but it was kind of a funny joke he used to do when I was a kid. So
I did not know that because yeah, like I feel like my cat likes like if I have a plastic bag out, she'll always like I thought she was just playing with it. 'Cause she'll kind of like jump into it. Like my cat's so weird. It likes being under rugs. I don't know if your cat like goes under rugs, but
no,
she's like
it's a
obsessed with like, going under rugs.
you have I guess you don't have, well, all my rugs are kind of like, they're large ones, they're hammered down with nails, so I mean, yeah,
Okay.
so I guess if I had a small floor rug, they might if they had, is that what you have, like a small floor rug or something?
Yeah, I have some small ones that she'll go under, but then I have like a huge one like over most of my living room, and she'll like just like go through the corner and like go under it. And she'll just like lay under the rug. I'm like, what are you doing under there? Like, is that a blanket for you? Um, but she'll like go into the plastic bags and kind of like play with them. But I never knew that they thought that was food. That's interesting. Or like it like mimics the scent or
Yeah,
taste or something.
yeah, and the other thing about cats is, well, my other cat, I had a cat that lived to be 19 years old, and the last
Wow.
couple of years he was alive, he had a hard time finding his food, and I'd put it right in front of him, and he couldn't find it. And it turns out that cats, I don't know if you know this, but they have to be able to smell their food before they can eat it. So because he was having nasal issues, he could not smell his food, therefore he could not eat it. And I took him to the vet, and I was like, I can't figure out what's going on. The food is right in front of him, and he's still hungry. And the vet said, no, it's because he has a nasal issue. He can't smell anymore or smell correctly anymore, so he can't tell that the food is there. So that's something I learned as well. So I assume it's probably like I said, a combination of the smell and taste. They smell that plastic or whatever. I don't think all cats do that either. So
I wonder then, like, because like I feel like my cat's super picky. Like it'll like one food for a month and then it'll want something new, or like it won't eat food if it's been sitting out too long. So I wonder if they can like smell that it's like been refrigerated, or smell that it's been sitting out. Cause she'll like look at it and like kind of smell it and like eat a little bit and then just like look at me and then walk away and like
oh
kind of meow like she wants something different. And I'm just like, no, eat that. But
yeah, you and I go through that same problem right now. The two cats I have, exactly the same thing. It drives me crazy. I put the food out, and they're like, they nibble it, and they look at me like, "Where's the rest? Where's the food?" I just put it out there. Eat it, please. And
yeah.
it's like- and I
So
walk
you
away, and
bought this food a month ago. Why are you not eating it now?
yeah, exactly. So for a while, it got so bad they wouldn't eat anything, and they were just like I went through like several different kinds of foods, and finally I found that they like shredded food that was soft food that was shredded. They finally started eating that. I was like,
Mhm.
finally, and now they seem to like anything that's shredded. I just give them a variety, and that seems to work for them. So, but they're brothers, and they're pretty much they both of them pretty much do the exact same thing. So.
Yeah.
But but yeah, the whole thing with the cricket season and the things keeping up at night just drive me crazy sometimes. It's like, it's like I cannot wait until cricket season is over. And right now I haven't had any major problems with crickets inside the house, but just outside the window, because right now I don't live in the basement anymore. I live on the ground level, but I can hear a cricket outside my window every once in a while, and it just wakes me up. And I'm like, oh, I got to wait till they stop chirping. It's same thing all over again. So it's just annoying. So
No, I feel you. There's like, because I work nights and like late, like if I'm not asleep by like 3 or 4 o'clock, like the birds start chirping, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna be up all night. So like I have to fall asleep before the birds, and then it starts to get close to the time I can like know the birds will come out, and I like start to get anxious, and I'm like fall asleep before the birds start chirping, and then like I just screw myself over that way. But yeah, it's like hard to sleep when there's like, at least if it's not like a consistent sound, because I feel like if you like you're about to fall asleep and then like something like makes a noise and then you like wake up, and if it's not like constantly going, I found like yeah, it can be annoying.
mhm, mhm.
Hard to sleep.
Yeah, oh, okay. Let me. We got a response. I sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. We got a response to. Oh, it popped up. You can't see what I'm seeing on my end. I'll bring it up right now. This is a response. As we're talking, I get little notifications for our questions, and they pop up. So we actually got one response. Let's go back to the first question right here. And we'll go back to that. So 37 minutes ago, 88 votes so far. Actually, yeah, one response. Um, I get little pop-up notifications on the bottom of my screen every once in a while. So if you see a pop-up, you'll see what I'm talking about. Have you ever had a roommate from hell? Give an example. 63% with yes. Next down, 16% with never had a roommate. 10% I prefer to live alone. 9% with no, and 2% with I've had several roommates from hell. So,
Yikes.
um, and one comment says he was really annoying, but now he's okay.
Now
Oh,
that they're older.
yeah. Well, that's good. I wonder how he was annoying. Maybe you could come back and leave an example of how he was annoying and what did you get him to, were you persuasive in some way, or did he just calm down on his own, or what happened there to make him so he's not annoying anymore? That's what I'm curious about. So let's see. But how do you feel about that? It's 63%. That's pretty high. I didn't think it'd be that
Oh,
high.
a lot. I mean, I guess you're always gonna like deal with at least someone that probably drives you crazy unless you're really lucky. But I guess it depends on the situation. Like if you're going to college, chances are you really don't know your roommates unless you pick your roommates ahead of time. So you might get stuck with someone that's not the greatest, if you're not able to pick. But who knows? You might have a best friend and end up living with them, and you're like, oh my gosh, I should have never lived with them. So
Oh goodness, yeah, yeah, I won't drag on too much, but yeah, I have a best friend. He and I've been friends since we were 10 years old, and if we spend too much time together, we really got on each other's nerves to the point where I was like, I have to spend time away from him after that. So I know what you're talking about. It's
Mhm.
unfortunately I've learned how to deal with that, but yeah, it can be kind of annoying if that happens. So let me go back to the other question we got here so far. We did give some responses. Yeah, here we go. Wow, wait, wow, is that the same one? No, it's not the same one. Sorry. I have to hit refresh here. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. There we go. We only have 20 votes. Yeah, 20 votes. Uh, would you ever eat food made with bugs? Hell yeah, with 60%. Wow. Uh, that's
Higher than
interesting.
I thought.
Yeah. Of course, we only have 20 votes so far, so we'll see if that changes. Gross no with 25%, maybe depending on the insect, 10%, and I've tried several at 5%. And Roy 316, who's a regular contributor, says no, no. So, and by the way, Roy, thanks for this is off topic here, but he leaves comments on my videos every day. He leaves little comical comments that are really funny. So, thank you, Roy, for leaving those comments. So, but yeah, 60%. Like I said, it's only 20 votes so far. But still, that seems awfully high. So I'm wondering if maybe it could be maybe it's a cultural thing too. We have lots of people from different countries, and insects are a delicacy in certain parts of the world. So we have lots of people from different parts of the world. Maybe that might be contributing to the higher results. So,
Yeah, it's true.
alrighty.
My favorite. Let us know. Maybe I'd try it. Maybe not. Maybe that'll be like my step into eating meat again. Eating insects first
Hmm.
and bugs.
So you're a vegetarian?
I haven't ate meat in like, oh gosh, like 15 years.
Oh, okay. Are you curious? Are you like are you going the vegan route, or do you have some meat products?
Well, so vegan would be like dairy and
Oh, was that what? Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I didn't do like dairy or egg, or well, I still did eggs, so I guess I was never completely vegan, but I like cut out dairy for a while, but I've been kind of bringing it back, which I don't know. I always like debate if I want to cut it out again because you
Hmm.
just feel better. I feel like not eating that stuff.
Oh,
At
okay.
least I do. But
Is it health? So it's for health reasons? Is that why?
um the animal part is more like for the animals, and I just like don't really like meat that much in general anyway, and it's more probably psychological, like just thinking of like eating an animal. But dairy I know like isn't the actual animal, it's like coming from the animal, which is still kind of creeps me out sometimes. But it's probably it, yeah, I mean it's like for the animal rights. Like if I like the way if like I were to eat meat, I would want to like know where it was coming from, have it come from like a good local farm or like someone I knew that like raised the animals or something. Like I think that would be like my first step to try eating meat again. Just because like I don't know, I feel so bad on like how some of those animals are treated, and just like living now in the South and like talking with different people that do grow like animals and stuff, just like learning on like how they do it versus how like other people do it is it's really like mind opening. We could talk about it in like another episode, but
Yeah, that definitely be a good topic.
most people might know, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm a city girl, and like now I'm in like a farming area, and it's like very interesting to like learn these different things and just like stuff.
Yeah, that would definitely be a great topic because I spent when I was like 19 years old, I spent like 3 weeks on my uncle's farm up in Pennsylvania, and I learned some things about how and some of the things he did to those animals. Yeah, I don't think you'd like that. I didn't like it either. So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, let's save that. That's a good topic for another show. Let's save that for the next one or something. So, okay,
Yeah.
alrighty. So, thanks everyone for listening. And did you have anything you wanted to add before we wrapped everything up?
No, have a good weekend.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.